final chapter, Adder. The next day. Monday night, November 28th. Less than 1 hour ago, Misa and I finished our first day of stealth training. Since 10 a.m. we've been undergoing all sorts of obscure trials, playing along with whatever activities Sai dictated as being necessary. Some made sense, others were confusing, but they all had some semblance of usefulness. Take, for example, the scene of our most prominent trial, the corridors surrounding the arena. By the time Misa and I arrived this morning, Sai had turned the corridors into an obstacle course, which we've ran repeatedly since morning. In order to hone our speed and reflexes, the course contains random pitfalls and traps, which are only apparent moments before you encounter them. If you're a little too slow or fail to evade them in time, serious injury awaits. Further to that, we were given strict time limits, which grew shorter as the day passed, and every hour on the hour Sai reduced the lighting. So in a dark, trap-ridden obstacle course, given unrealistic times to match, I... Pathetic! Utterly pathetic! Failed miserably. Your best time of the day is still double Misa's, and hers is nothing to be proud of. Give me a break. You should be amazed I'm still standing after all of that. The only thing I'm amazed by is your ability to make excuses. If you want to call yourself my student, you're going to do much better than that. Easy for him to say. I don't see Sai running this ridiculous course. We'll pick this back up tomorrow morning. The course will have changed, so don't grow complacent. With those parting words, Sai headed towards the obstacle course, no doubt administering some of the changes he had mentioned moments prior. I thought today would never end. It wasn't as physically tiring as our regular training, but it's hard to concentrate when you're constantly avoiding random traps. Don't you start. Just because your time was a little better than mine, that doesn't mean it'll stay that way. I bridged the gap between us in combat training, didn't I? Although it took many weeks of training before I could fight Misa on even terms, I eventually learned how to defend myself against her onslaught. While Misa still won in terms of speed and agility, I had the undeniable advantage with regards to speed and strength and stamina. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. For the time being, let's go grab some dinner. We can worry about training tomorrow. Seems like Misa's as hungry as I am. Neither one of us has eaten since breakfast, so I can't say I'm surprised. In that case, let's... You're still here. I was afraid you might have already left. 10 seconds later, and you would have been right. What's up, boss? Oh, please, boss is so formal. Just call me Papa. What's up, Karasu? Good enough, I guess. Anyway, I was hoping to speak to you two while Sai worked. Would you care to join me in my office? Without any reason to refuse, other than a collective grumbling from the stomachs of Misa and I, we followed Karasu into his office. Now then, where do I begin? I suppose we'd start with your most recent assignment. You mean our search for Violet and Vincent? I already told you about what happened there. Yes, I know. You told me all about Leon's scheme, their fake coordinates, and so on. But what I'm interested in is what you didn't tell me. What I didn't tell him. Hey, I'm not keeping any secrets from you. I really did tell you everything. And I believe you. I'm sure you did tell me everything pertinent to your assignment. What you didn't tell me about were the nights you two spent together. Jeez. Karasu is starting to sound like Sai. Can't Misa and I spend some time together without it equating to that? Whatever you're imagining, just stop. Nothing happened, okay? Oh, was that so? So sorry to disappoint, but my life is not exclusively for your entertainment. What do you think, Misa? Is it true that nothing happened? For crying out loud, Karasu, why would Misa's answer be any different then? If you say so. Just know that I support the two of you fully, so if you need me to keep Sai occupied while you two elope, give it a rest, would you? If you're trying to keep us in high spirits, don't bother. Misa and I are doing perfectly fine. I may still be uneasy about what we'll be doing, but I know better than to fret or hesitate by this point. I've already resigned myself to my fate. I'll endure Sai's training, follow his instructions, do everything that's required of me, and nothing else. You aren't the only ones who need cheering up sometimes, you know. The revised date of the break-in is just around the corner. Soon enough, the two of you will be facing the threat of death very seriously. And along with Sai, the three of you are the only ones I have left. My other children have all either been killed or betrayed me. So forgive me if I need a little hand-holding right now, okay? God damn you, Karasu. Neither he nor Sai seems to be able to confidently tell Misa and I what to expect. Should we be worried, or will everything go perfectly as long as we follow Sai's instructions? Is Sai putting up a brave front? Does Karasu know something he doesn't? If Karasu wants us to feel at ease, adding further uncertainty isn't the way to do it. Geez, would you quit worrying already? Misa and I are going to be just fine, the same as always. Right, Misa? I see. Even if Sai keeps telling me that, it's reassuring to hear from someone who is a little less prideful. Alright, I'll choose to believe your words. Just promise me one thing. Of course. Anything you want, boss. What is it? Be careful. Don't fail. Something along those lines? No. At this point, all of that should be a given. Rather, I want you to watch over Sai. Us? Watch over him? Shouldn't it be the other way around? Ordinarily, that would be the case. At the moment, however, between you and him, I'd say you're the one being more level-headed. Sai has more at stake here than any of us. He'll do whatever he has to in order to succeed. I'm worried that in doing so, he might forget why he so desperately wants to succeed. Karasu put on a grim expression, showing concern completely unlike his usual self. Contrary to his normal cheerful and confident demeanor, I could tell that Karasu was worried about his friend, fully realizing that those closest to him might soon perish. So, will you do it? I understand that you already have a lot on your plate, and this will be no walk in the park for any of you. Even knowing that, will you... Karasu asked once again, still displaying concern unbefitting his usually cheery disposition. Why is it that Karasu expects the newest member here to be the pillar of support? Shouldn't that be his role as the boss? Or perhaps Sai's as the one orchestrating all of this? They've both shown great confidence until this point, so why stop now? But if my boss asks this of me, it's not like I can refuse, and even if he hadn't, I'd still do my best to watch over Misa and Sai. From the beginning, there was only one answer I could give. Of course, I can't let my future father-in-law die now, can I? Karasu and Misa both stared at me, unable to believe what I just said. With Karasu refusing to break up the tension, I filled in his role by making the kind of joke he usually would, and surely enough the angst on the faces of Karasu and Misa disappeared in an instant. You really are something, you know that. I thought your nature as a chameleon was limited to work. I never foresaw you becoming a second Karasu. Believe me, I have no intention of doing that. You don't want to be your own boss? Fine by me. But you might want to be more careful when joking about these things. It's one thing for me to talk about your relationship like that, but hearing it directly from you might be a little much. Hearing what directly from me? Karasu nodded his head, and I followed his gesture until my eyes landed on Misa. As she would whenever Karasu made such a remark, Misa had begun to blush and averted her gaze. This time around, however, rather than looking embarrassed, Misa seemed happy. What the heck? What's with that reaction? Misa should know that I was only joking. Karasu's made enough of those remarks for her to know better than to take something like that seriously. And yet, despite that, she's... You know, I can't help but notice that you aren't trying to retract your words, Suo. Even if I wanted to, I don't think I could. The truth is, I'm not sure how I feel about Misa exactly, or how she feels about me. I can't say for sure if I possess any romantic feelings towards her, nor can I claim that I don't. I simply don't understand my own heart that well. So I won't say anything decisive, now without knowing for sure how Misa and I feel about one another. Yeah, well, only time will tell if I'm joking or not. At any rate, it goes without saying that I won't let anything happen to Misa or Sai. I'm glad to hear that. I was worried that you might resent Sai, but it appears that my fears were unfounded. At any rate, please forget that I said anything today. I'll keep an eye on Sai. You two should just focus on your training, okay? And if you still want to elope once all this is over, I'll do the honors myself. "8 days later. Tuesday morning, December 6th. After the first few days of our new training with Sai, Misa and I quickly adapted to the new paradigm. Our physically and mentally exhausting training routine became the new norm, and we both improved day after day, despite the residual exhaustion carrying over to the start of each session. As a result, I've now narrowed the gap between Misa and I considerably, with my best time being 20% higher than her worst rather than double. The difference between us is still obvious, of course, and given our vastly different body types, that won't change anytime soon. But even then, I'm very happy with my improvement, and I believe my partner is too. With most of our time this past week being dedicated to training, Misa and I have had very little time to ourselves. All of a sudden I can't read anymore. Even at home we've been too tired to do anything. We've mostly just been eating takeaway food rather than cooking, going to bed immediately upon returning home, and sleeping in until the last possible moment. Because of this, while our training has been fruitful and served a predictable purpose, our home life has been anything but normal. Aren't you awake yet, Misa? Come on, don't make me draw the curtains. I'm not really a sadist, you know. Here we go again. Misa has barely been making it until the end of our sessions lately. Just yesterday she fell asleep on the bus ride back and I had to carry her home. But even with that extra sleep, Misa has proven impossible to wake up at a reasonable hour this morning, and we've already been late to train the past 3 days in a row. So as much as I hate to do this... Awake now, Misa? Damn, and I thought I was hard to wake up. Well, if Misa isn't ready to wake up yet, there's only one thing left to do. Ignoring the glances I received on the bus ride over, I carried Misa most of the way to Karasu Stadium before she finally woke up. After she awoke, I explained to Misa what was going on, and the two of us made a slight detour for breakfast before heading to Karasu's. So I kinda wonder, is she still in her pajamas, or did Suo have to dress her, or how did that work? Still half asleep, we at last arrived at the stadium, at the top of which we found our ever-vigilant instructor. You're late. Again. Yeah. Don't yeah me. We have an important mission to train for, and having you two constantly show up late to training isn't going to help. Wake up, get changed, and meet me back here in 5 minutes. Got it? Yeah, got it. Jeez, what's gotten Sai so riled up this morning? Misa is barely even conscious, and he expects us to start training right away. I don't even know how Misa's going to get changed in her current state. 10 minutes later, after I finally managed to wake Misa up, the two of us changed into our training gear and returned to our point of departure. Upon our return, however, Sai was nowhere to be found, and the two of us were left wondering what we were supposed to do. We were left with no instructions other than to meet up with Sai once more, and the obstacle course below appeared to have been cleaned up. I know that Misa and I took a while, but did Sai really just leave us to train without him? What's more, the course from last night appears to have been disassembled, so I doubt we're expected to know what we should be doing. This is surprisingly irresponsible, especially from Sai. Wondering the same thing that I was, Misa looked around the stadium trying to spot her father. It's your fault that he's missing, you know. If you'd woken up on time, he wouldn't have run off like this. I tried to goad Misa, but in response to my words, she simply remained silent. Nothing? Come on, Misa, at least pout in response to that. It's no fun if you just... Misa, where are you going? Following after Misa, who quietly ran off, I soon wound up in Karasu's office. Surely enough, when the two of us arrived, Sai and Karasu were both present, staring at the television with serious looks on their faces. Sai, what's going on? In a very Misa-esque fashion, Sai silently nodded towards the television. I'm here on the grounds of the Middlebrook Research Facility of Adder Technologies, where the research team has finally confirmed what we've all been anticipating for months. Only a few weeks out from Christmas, we now know that Adder Technologies will be releasing a new product late next week, just in time for the festive season. Details are scarce, but the official word from Adder Technologies is that the product will be a mainstream health supplement, which has already received national approval for sale. Although less grandiose than their previous wonder drugs, Adder Technologies remain confident that this product's reach, being a supplement rather than a cure, will help to make it a bestseller. I caught up with some members of the development team moments ago, and this is what they... This isn't good. Agreed, I'd anticipate a new product launch, but the timing could be worse. After cutting off the news segment partway through, Sara and Karasu began to talk about what they had just seen. Rather than displaying excitement over the product, however, or utilizing the chance to gather information from the development team, they both saw the news as being purely negative. I know I was against moving up our operation date, but now it seems like we should have it moved up further. Our odds just decreased significantly. Uh-oh. They did. I don't understand. What changed? Public exposure, that's what... Precisely. Now that everyone knows of Adder's upcoming product launch, there will be other attempts made on their facilities. In order to cater to that, security will be increased and our jobs will become far more difficult. Oh, I see. I hadn't thought about that. This really will make things more difficult. Shit. Even though we have no interest in their bullshit medicine, the attention drawn by this new product may be enough to sabotage our entire operation. 4 more freaking days and we would have been in the clear. Indeed, if we put off our plans any longer, they're only going to be better prepared than when the time comes. We need to move this up as quickly as possible. They won't be expecting a calculated attack so soon after the announcement. Yeah, you're right. Suo, Misa, listen up. Spend the day at rest, grab your gear, and be back here by 6 p.m. sharp. We're breaking into Adder tonight. Given the day to relax, however, we saw fit, Misa and I returned home. We'd only been gone for less than 2 hours, and neither one of us had undergone any kind of physical strain. Nonetheless, the moment we entered the house, a heavy atmosphere descended upon us. Tonight, huh? So it's finally happening. Not expecting the sudden-changing plans, the thought of breaking into Adder that very day seemed surreal. Even before the date change, the break-in seemed unreasonably soon, and with the uncertainty Sara and Karasu had shown even before that point, their unease naturally trickled down to me. No matter how Sara spins it, this is way too sudden. It's true that the operation date was already pushed forward once, but the first date change at least gives us all time to train and prepare. Being suddenly told that we have a single day, on the other hand, this is just insane. Jeez, we're in quite a bind now, huh? This is way too short notice. Misa simply nodded in reply, completely drained of her energy. Rather than being exhausted, however, she had been for the rest of the week, what her weak nod displayed above all else was worry. Bereft of any of her usual enthusiasm, Misa bore the same sullen look that Karasu had a short while ago, an expression of defeat, as though the battle had already been lost. Damn. This again, huh? Misa didn't seem all that worried comparatively speaking, so I thought she'd be okay. But if I'm going to cheer someone up, I'm glad it's Misa. Alright, enough moping around, let's get going already. You heard, Sai, we can spend the day however we want. It's time to enjoy ourselves. Misa isn't in the mood to play around. It's unusual, but I can't really blame her. Realistically, we should be preparing, either by resting or training. Going outside and having fun falls into neither category. We both lack sleep and preparedness alike. We should take a nap, or return to Karasu's lair and undergo the training that Sai had prepared for us today. But even knowing that... Sorry, Misa, but that wasn't a question. We're going out whether you like it or not. Tasked with the simple goal of taking our minds off work, I escorted Misa around town for a day like any other. We caught the bus to the closest mall, walked around a while, grabbed some lunch, and generally just wasted time. We then headed to the cinema, wherein I offered to take Misa to see one of her other choices from last time, and even swung by the arcade. However, no matter where I took her, Misa's attitude did not improve. Well, the lake would probably be a little too far away by this point, but I did manage to locate an indoor pool since our last outing if you're interested. I won't force you to swim, but you want to at least take a look, right? Or could it be that you do want to swim and you just don't know how? It's nothing to be embarrassed about. Plenty of people don't know how to swim, especially those living in the city. One day might not be enough, but if you'd like, I could try to teach you how to... Although my words merited no response, the second I tried to put my hand on Misa's shoulder, she slapped my hand away. Just what on earth am I doing? I took Misa out today for the sole purpose of raising her spirits. Instead, all I've done is bore her and make her mad. As far as preparing for a dangerous mission goes, this is about as pathetic as it gets. I'm sorry, Misa. If you don't want to go, I won't try to persuade you anymore. Let's just go home. After Suo and Misa left for a day of relaxation and preparation, Sai continued to work throughout their absence. With their plans undergoing a second change in a short amount of time, neither Sai nor Karasu had a moment to spare, forcing both to work urgently in order to ensure their success. Sai, have you heard back from the lab yet? Just got off the phone with them a few minutes ago. They say they're done, but won't have time to test everything as thoroughly as they'd like. What about on your end? Have you contacted Senator Bell? Yes, as expected, he tried to worm out of our agreement the moment he picked up the phone. I managed to persuade Bell in the end, but I still think we'll need to do something about him after tonight. Understood. I'll take care of him myself tomorrow morning before the sun rises. What about the security system? Will there be any problems? We won't have as much time as originally estimated, but it should be enough, as long as we don't run into any unexpected trouble. I don't like the sound of that. Neither do I. But if we're really doing this tonight, we'll have to make it work. Suo and Misa have already received sufficient training to take care of any interlopers, and I'll run Misa through the basics of overriding the individual security locks before we go in. As long as the security of the Middlebrook branch hasn't increased drastically since our last probe, I'm confident that those two will complete their part. Good. I was worried that Suo in particular might not have had enough time to adapt to his new role. I wouldn't worry about that. With yours truly as his teacher and my daughter taking the lead once we separate, failure won't be an option. Now that's what I like to hear. Having discussed everything they needed to, Sai and Karasu both enjoyed a moment of silence as they let their conversation sink in. The personnel required were all trained and ready to go. The minimum equipment necessary had been prepared. A certain senator had leveraged them access to the facility, and the timing of the operation had been decided upon. Even without time on their side, all of the pieces were falling into place. This really is happening, isn't it? After months of planning and preparation, years of waiting for an opportunity, we'll finally be making our move. We will indeed. Our hard work is finally going to pay off. I was skeptical when you asked me to flee Japan in order to join you, but now... Oh, Sai, don't start getting sentimental on me now. You of all people should know better than to relax before a mission is complete. That I do. In light of that, let's continue this conversation tomorrow, after you've begun selling off and explaining Adder's research. I'm looking forward to watching my assets skyrocket, you know. As am I, my friend. And by this time tomorrow, that fantasy will at last become reality. In the hours following her return back home, Misa and I stewed in relative silence for longer than I thought possible. Misa allowed worry and lethargy to consume her, sulking on the couch and curling herself up in a ball. I walked around the house, pacing back and forth, trying to think of something to do, or some way to take my mind off our current situation. Between the two of us, we accomplished nothing, only managing to kill half an hour before Misa resorted to turning the TV on. The second she did so, however... And you say the cost to consumers will actually be lower than... On her guard and visibly concerned, Misa continued to fret in silence, showing no sign of improving her mood. Seeing the typically elated and energetic young girl in such a depressed state, I felt a powerful urge to sit down next to Misa and throw my arms around her, comforting her with kind words and blatant lies. Mindful of what happened last time I touched her, however, I kept my hands to myself. I hate seeing Misa like this, but the fact is, it's not up to me to decide how she feels. Misa has made it clear that she wants me to keep my distance, at least for the time being, so the best I can do is honor her wish. Once this is all over, we'll have plenty of time to have fun, make up, and laugh about all this nonsense. The only hard part will be surviving long enough to do so. Even if I want to believe that everything is going to be alright, I know that this can't possibly go as smoothly as Sai and Karasu hope. The deadline has changed twice, our train was cut short, and even now I don't have a clue what I'll be expected to do once we get inside. For that matter, how will we get inside? How will we enter a highly guarded research facility by one of the world's most powerful corporations? This is a fool's errand, one which we stand no chance of completing successfully. As painful as it may be to admit, Misa's right to feel depressed. While wandering around the house aimlessly, I soon found myself in my bedroom. The bed Sara and I slept on, currently shared between Misa and myself, beckoned me over. I sat down and looked around the room, taking in what might be my final eyeful. It's not just the bed, is it? Every part of this room once had some semblance of Sara. Now her clothes have been cast aside to make room for Misa's. Her half of the bed has become Misa's. Her role in this household has become Misa's. I don't know if Misa moved in here just to support me, and I realize that there's no point in waiting for the dead. But even so, it almost feels as though memories of Sara no longer have any place here. The girl who moved in here with me, who made this house into a home, who made the best of a bad situation, is dead. She's been replaced. Her belongings have been hidden away and forgotten. Her presence is gone forever. I've had a lot of fun with Misa, and I appreciate everything she's done for me, but at the end of the day, she isn't Sara. She isn't Sara? Thrown by a startling yet obvious thought, I rose to my feet and looked down the hallway towards the living room. Down that hallway is a girl who accepts what I do for a living, who began cohabitating with me without even being asked, and follows me around blindly. I brushed off a lot of what Misa has said and done because I expected as much from my sister, but Misa is not Sara. Whatever reason she had to come here like this has been lost on me. I never thought to ask why Misa stayed here with me, or continued to be by my side. Work has a role in it, of course, as does her father, but when we're on the job, what keeps Misa by my side instead of splitting up? What made her want to stay here with me? For all of Karasu's tasteless jokes and insinuations, not once has Misa rejected the premise that we were dating, or gotten defensive when being called my girlfriend. Is it possible that Misa is taking our relationship that seriously? I like Misa. Despite her often overwhelming energy and her cryptic signals, she's a lot of fun to be around. But as far as our relationship is concerned, I've never once thought about having a life together, or even a future. My thoughts of being with Misa have always been short-term, focused on our next outing or on work. When Sara died, it never would have occurred to me to ask Misa to stay with me. As for Misa, however, even if she hasn't thought about it that deeply, she's obviously given this much more consideration than I have. Overrun by thoughts that were completely inappropriate for the current situation, I headed to the living room once more. Even with work threatening my livelihood, my thoughts have been instantly consumed by Misa. This may not be the best time to approach Misa, given that we only have a few hours before we'll be leaving this house for what might be the last time. No. Maybe it's because of the urgency and finality of our job this evening that I'm thinking about these things. We might not have a tomorrow. This could be my last chance to understand exactly what kind of relationship Misa and I share. Having noticed me stand in the living room staring at her, Misa returned my gaze with one of confusion. She still seemed to be mad about before, or at least troubled by her upcoming operation. Either way, she was in no mood for the kind of speculation I had in mind. Nonetheless, I knew I had to speak up. Misa, I have a question. In response to my serious tone, Misa's expression softened. Even if she was mad at me, Misa was still in the right mind frame to take an important question seriously. When all of this is over, when we've robbed Adder and become wealthy, infamous criminals, what will you do? Misa stared at me quizzically, as though my answer was nonsense. As though my question was nonsense? I think I might have said answer there. I guess that was a bit broad for Misa to answer. I need to simplify the question. Misa, what I'm trying to ask is, will you keep living with me? Frozen in place, Misa continued to stare at me blankly for a few moments before finally gasping in realization. I had intended for my question to be one for which a simple yes-no answer would suffice. So rather than beat around the bush and ask a series of questions about our future plans, I cut right to the one that mattered most to me. It's fine if you don't. I won't hold it against you if you want to go back to your old lifestyle. But my old house is pretty big, you know. It'll be lonely to move back in there by myself. And as far as roommates go, I can't think of anybody else I'd rather live with. Despite the phrasing of my question allowing for a yes-no answer, Misa attempted to respond verbally. As she quickly discovered, however, that proved impossible. Don't strain yourself, Misa. You don't need to give an in-depth answer. Just nod or shake your head like usual, okay? Prepared for either outcome, I gave Misa a simple choice: to nod if she wanted to stay with me, or to shake her head if not. Most of my questions for Misa usually came down to one of those two responses, and while it proved annoying at first, I gradually became used to asking the right questions. If Misa wants nothing to do with me after this, I'll understand. Living alone with some boy she's only known for a few months can't be terribly appealing. Honestly, I'm surprised she moved in here to begin with. Even so, I can't help but hope that Misa will want to extend our time together. I've enjoyed living with Misa, just as I've enjoyed working with and dating her. If she'll have me, then Was that a yes? Misa, just to be clear, was that nod to confirm that you understand, or are you saying that you want to live with me? Two nods, a yes to both. After taking a moment to think my proposal through, Misa happily agreed. There must be something seriously wrong with me. Honestly, we have a life-or-death mission coming up in a few hours, and I'm asking my girlfriend to move in with me. My priorities are totally messed up, aren't they? Misa shook her head, denying my assertion. Whether she meant it or was just humoring me, Misa didn't seem to mind at all that my mind had reverted to a safe place in our time of unease. Maybe Misa's in the same boat as I am, happy to distract herself from work and indulge in a moment of bliss. If not, Misa must have nerves of steel. Focusing on a relationship and possible future is the only thing keeping me from tearing my hair out right now. Whatever the case, if there's one thing I've learned from our interaction just now, it's this. The future does hold promise for me after all. Adder Technologies. Known worldwide for their wonder drugs and miracle medicine, Adder are currently at the forefront of global medical research. There isn't a corner of this planet on which the name Adder is not known, and in nearly every country across the globe they have a foothold. Adder are omnipresent, reaping profits wherever they go. Their reputation as a medical science corporation precedes them, no matter how remote the destination. But Adder has a secret, one which the world cannot be allowed to know about. Adder is actually an arms research organization. Through military contracts and government connections, they operate under the guise of a pharmaceutical corporation, researching, designing, creating, testing, and selling drugs. In reality, however, the only drugs they create are those aimed at making soldiers live longer, fight harder, and nigh impossible to kill. Any drugs released to the public are unfinished products acquired through hostile takeovers. Some work, some don't, yet all are profitable. This enviable business model, combined with connections to all the right people, has made Adder both invulnerable and unbelievably wealthy. Further to that, with so much money and influence, Adder will never fall. No scandal can stick, no leaks can actually hurt them, and no lawsuits ever go to trial. In a legal sense, they are untouchable. Unfortunately for Adder, however, when they're facing an opponent with no intention to fight out in the open, nobody has more to lose. Alright, you two, listen up. Once we leave, we won't be turning back, so this is your last chance to eat, hydrate, go to the bathroom, or grab anything you need. Double check that you both have everything necessary, and take care of anything that might hinder you, understood? Misa and I quickly checked our equipment for the nth time while mentally running through what we needed. Fortunately, the two of us had very little to check, since all the tools we'd need were being brought by Sai. I'm set. Good. Then I'll go through the basics of our entrance and your overall mission. I've already covered the finer points of our plan with Misa, so if you lose your way after we separate, don't fret. I nodded in understanding. Alright, for starters, the three of us will be hiding in an armored vehicle and escorted into the loading bay of the target facility. We will be using the credentials of a certain senator who owes Karasu a favor, so chances are that the vehicle won't be inspected. Nonetheless, once we approach our destination, we will be hiding in a concealed compartment of the vehicle. Once we reach the loading bay, the three of us will exit through the bottom of the hidden compartment, then sneak into the first level control room. That is where things start to get tricky. Sai took a breath before continuing, giving Misa and I a moment to take everything in. We'll be utilizing a device cooked up by Karasu's tech team, first engineered from Adder's own security framework. This will cause a temporary failure in their system, quietly disabling any intruder detection provisions without alerting the security guards. In theory, this will give us 15 minutes to rush in, take what we came for, and get out. However, given Adder's sudden announcement, it's possible that they've changed their setup since we began working on their security. Hopefully, we're early enough that we'll beat any planned changes in security. Nonetheless, we must be prepared for the worst. Having given us fair warning and a brief rundown of what we needed to know, Sai put an end to his explanation. I glanced at Misa, who didn't seem fazed by what she had heard, and then thought it over myself. A 15-minute snatch and grab, huh? Not quite the billion-dollar heist I was expecting, but if it gets the job done, then so be it. More importantly, even a novice like me can follow Sai around and grab what he tells me to. My job is every bit as easy as he made it out to be. Have I been worried about nothing this entire time? Ah, you're all still here. How wonderful. Moments after Sai finished talking, Karasu walked up to the three of us, showing his face to me outside of his lair for the first time since we met. What are you doing out here? Did something happen? What are you talking about? I just came up here to see off my adorable children. So you're here to mess around? Go back to your office and await our return, would you? Now, don't be like that. I'll have you know that I'm not the kind to simply wait around and wait for my man to come home. Would you listen to yourself? You're creeping us out. Seriously, go hide in your hole. If you stick around here too long, the indirect sunlight might turn you to ash. I knew you had some humor left in you, Sai. Going through the usual motions, Sai and Karasu went back and forth, berating and teasing one another as though this were any other day. Is this really the best time to be joking around? Shouldn't we be focusing on the task at hand? You're right. Focus is important, especially when so much is on the line. But even if this is a serious mission, it doesn't mean you need to go in with a heavy heart. There's no harm in having a laugh beforehand. Besides, you should be glad that I'm here. Surely you have some questions that secretive old Sai has failed to answer. Yeah, I can take a hint. Sai gave Karasu and I some distance, taking Misa with him. Questions for Karasu, huh? Haven't Sai and Misa done this before? What's so different? Well, there is one thing I've been wondering about. You said before that both Sai and Misa have broken into Adder buildings before, right? Why is this time so different? Ah, so you do pay attention to my rambling. The thing is, Sai and Misa have indeed broken into Adder facilities before, but not this facility. They've mostly broken into office buildings, not heavily guarded research labs. Uh-oh. I don't like the sound of that. Not to worry though, we've taken every precaution to ensure that this mission is a success. Even if the difficulty is higher, I'm sure they'll just make this our greatest success to date. I keep getting told that we're breaking into a research facility, but not once have I heard what we're actually going to take. What will we be stealing exactly? Well, strictly speaking, you won't be taking anything. Sai will be heading straight for the facility's server room, then to the office in which they keep arms research materials. Meanwhile, Misa will search the individual labs, keeping an eye out for anything valuable or potentially useful, and downloading what she can from their computers. We will be targeting digital information of all forms, time permitting, but mostly we want details on their weapons contracts and upcoming developments. If we can obtain the details of the people to whom Adder are selling weaponry, as well as the knowledge of how to create the weaponry ourselves, we can undercut them. We'll make a fortune, Adder will have no profit from their R&D, and my list of contacts will have expanded. Whoa, Karasu has really thought this through. What happens after this? assuming the operation is a success, what will happen next? Surely we won't all just be able to walk away without any repercussions. Why not? That was my plan? Or at least, I wish it were that simple. Personally, I'll be moving as far away from here as possible. Even if Leon and the others are acting independently, I can't risk Adder finding me here. Sai will be coming with me initially, though once the heat dies down, we'll likely part ways. So those two are leaving town, huh? Well, what is it? Aren't you going to ask me if Misa will be leaving too? After considering Karasu's question for a moment, I looked towards Sai, who seemed to be paying us no attention whatsoever. There's no need. I already know where Misa will be staying. I see. It's a good thing I sent Sai away. He'd have a heart attack if he knew that you two were discussing something like that. Either that or you'd wind up one man short for this operation. No more questions. If you two are done chatting, it's about time we left. That time already, is it? Very well then, I'll take my leave too. But before you go, Suo, Misa, I have something I want to say to the two of you. Although I never got to know you as well as Sai, I truly mean it when I say that you're my children. You've never failed me or tried to double-cross me, and the two of you put up with my antics without complaining once. Please, take care, you two. Come back to me alive and well. Moments after saying goodbye to Karasu, an armored truck arrived in the parking lot. Barely able to fit through the entrance, the large truck was loaded with the equipment Sai believed that we would need, and once we had filled it, the three of us climbed inside. We hit the road as soon as the sun began to set, paving our way through the city and towards a town I knew nothing about. By the time we arrived in Middlebrook, night had fallen upon us. We departed from Karasu's parking lot at 6:20 p.m., then drove for at least 3 hours before entering the neighboring city. Misa and I sat in relative silence, as did Sai. The only words to leave his mouth were instructions, as well as elaboration on my role. He explained to me just enough that I could muddle my way through my admittedly small role in this whole operation. After we enter the control room, Sai, Misa, and I will each get in position, simultaneously inserting and activating the override devices into the computer terminals. I just need to take the device Sai gives me, insert it into the computer he points me towards, and flip a switch on the side. As long as all three devices are activated within a half second of one another, no alarm will be raised, and we'll be free to begin looting. The way Sai explained my role, I had doubts that he was telling me everything. If my role is to do nothing more than flip a switch, then anybody could have been the third person. They wouldn't have needed me to train at all. I should have asked Karasu to explain my role while I had the chance. Sai seems hell-bent on keeping me out of the loop as much as possible. There's no way my role is as simple and unimportant as he's making it out to be. Suo, Misa, we're almost there. It's time to hide. Alright. Caught out while I wasn't paying attention, Sai alerted me to our proximity. After a long drive, Adder was finally coming into sight. Wow, it's really cramped in here. I understand why we need to hide, but trying to fit 3 people below the floor of a vehicle like this is unreasonable. If I knew I better, We're in. In 5 seconds, I'll open the hatch below us. Try to land on your feet, okay? There's a hatch below us? Wait, what does Sai mean by... I should have known. Get up, there's no time to lay around. Blinded by the light around us after seeing in complete darkness, and disoriented by the sudden impact, I slowly rose to my feet. As I tried to take a step forward, a familiar warmth grasped my hand, leading me forward. Temporarily blind, I was silently led by Misa, who handled our escape far more gracefully than I did. And once my vision did return, the first sight I saw was... the control room. Suo, Misa, do you have the devices I gave you? I put my hand into my pocket and grabbed the small plastic drive Sai had given me. It looked and felt like an ordinary USB flash drive, bar the switch and antenna, but according to Sai, it was the software on the drive that made it special. Yes, sir. Good. Suo, that terminal is yours. Misa, yours is the one next to it. Suo, you go first. Misa and I will sync our timing with yours, understood? Got it. I removed the drive from my pocket and opened the cabinet below the terminal. I then located a spare USB port and inserted the device, resting my thumb on the switch. Okay, are you two ready? Whenever you are. Alright, here goes nothing. 3, 2, 1, go! The moment I flicked the switch on the drive, Sai and Misa did the same, both within a fraction of a second of my movement. Did it work? All 3 devices are on and this room hasn't been locked down. Yes, it worked. Thank God. I let out a sigh of relief after completing the first phase of our plan. Don't get complacent yet. We're only just getting started here. Suo, Misa, that door is yours. The security system is down, so any fingerprint and retinas will open it. I'm taking the other entrance. We'll meet back here in 10 minutes. Got it? Wait, what do I... 14 minutes, 30 seconds. Get moving. And do what exactly? The only thing Sai told me to do was... Before I can mull the question over any longer, Misa grabbed my hand and led me through our designated door. We entered a hallway filled with security cameras and locked doors, all of which looked exactly the same. I thought back to the blueprint Sai had given me, which detailed this very floor. The contents of the individual rooms were largely secret, but each room did have a number, and some had notes next to them. Although the notes didn't make much sense at the time, at this point I had a good idea of what they meant. I get it now. Sai marked the rooms worth checking, rooms likely to be inhabited, and those we wouldn't be able to check quickly enough. Misa and I are supposed to search the rooms he detailed, avoid detection, and kill anybody who sees us. That's why we've been undergoing stealth and combat training, and why I had to be the one to break in here with them. It couldn't have been just anyone. Sai gave me all the information I needed after all. I was just too stupid to realize it. As I finally came to a grand realization, Misa entered the first room which Sai had marked as worth checking. She simply put her blade into the keycard scanner, as though swiping a card, and the door opened, rendered utterly useless by her earlier sabotage. Seeing Misa do so, I followed suit, approaching the next door marked as being worth checking and placing one of my knives in the scanner. This is just too easy. Having been granted access, I entered the first lab. Inside I found miscellaneous scientific tools, most of which I couldn't name if I wanted to, another computer terminal and various scattered documents. What to take, what to take. The computer probably has a lot of valuable information on it, but silently gave me the jamming device. I have nothing to store digital information on. What's more, I have no idea which documents or equipment here are worth anything, and I can't take all of it. As I internally debated on what I should take, a thought came to mind. I opened the cabinets and drawers around the computer, within moments setting my sights on marked USB flash drives and DVDs. What do we have here? Personal Flight Pod Prototype A. Oscillating Blade, 2010, February 1st. RHEL6 in installation disk. Whatever, I'll just take it all. I emptied a nearby box filled with beakers and started filling it with flash drives and DVDs. Once I had grabbed every digital storage medium in sight, I exited the room quite content with my haul. With my 10-minute time limit almost up, I gleefully made my way through the hallway back towards the control room. In my hands I had a duffel bag, which I had found in one of the labs. I had poured the contents of the box I was carrying into the bag and half-filled it, then continued to raid the other rooms. Misa took one hallway, I took the other, and together we amassed a significant amount of data. Now this is what I'm talking about. Collections? Assassinations? Screw that. This is what I should be doing. Walk into a room, grab every digital storage medium in sight, walk out. For such a supposedly dangerous job, this has been way too easy. Really now, just what was I so scared of? I'm making a killing, figuratively for once, and all I have to do is steal flash drives. I've been overthinking this whole mission all along. Despite my optimistic outlook, I knew we weren't done yet. Even if Misa and I had been successful, we hadn't heard from Sai, nor had we made our escape. I'm sure those two are doing fine. They're the professionals here, not me. If I can do this, they shouldn't have any problem. All I need to do is head back to the control room, wait for my companions, and head back home. As far as I'm concerned, my work here is not over yet. It isn't? No, what are you saying? I've done my job and I'm ready to go. I haven't screwed up any step of the way. I've completed every objective given to me. But you're not alone. I'm not alone? I know that Sai and Misa are here with me. That isn't news. What's more, I'm certain that none of the Adder staff has spotted me. I've been quiet, avoided the dangerous rooms, and haven't heard or seen a single other person. So what do you mean by... He's here? He? Gotcha. Turning around at the last second, spurred on by my sickness, I defended myself from Leon's surprise attack just in time. He swung his katana at the back of my head, which I desperately blocked with my knives as I dropped my hull to the floor without a second thought. Leon, what the hell? Aha, your reflexes have improved. I guess I really can whip anyone into shape, huh? Pity your train will be up for nothing. Leon struck again and again, attacking relentlessly as he aimed for my throat. Unlike the last time we fought, however, this time I could see his movements clearly, and I was able to react with time to spare. Not bad. I figured you would have improved by now, but not to this degree. Maybe Violet had a point when she suggested that we recruit you. Leon jumped back, keeping his blade in position, ready to react at a moment's notice. You know, I've always wondered what Karasu saw in you. He claimed that you were adaptable, the perfect person for Sai to mold. At first I thought he was just, being Karasu. But now, I'm not so sure. Leon continued to talk with his blade steady in front of him, never attacking, yet never letting his guard down. With that in mind, let me make you an offer. An offer? Yes, that's right. Something mutually beneficial, I assure you. I gripped my knives tight as Leon smirked, careful not to let his words distract me. We're both here to rob Adder. The only difference is you plan on giving what you find to Karasu, whereas I will be selling the information myself. Care to guess which of us will profit more than the other? Even without Leon finishing his offer, I knew exactly what he was suggesting. You want me to join you? Now? You must be joking. 30 seconds ago you tried to kill me. 30 seconds ago I thought you were an easy kill. Listen, I don't care what you think of me. Quite frankly, I hate you too. But if we team up even temporarily, we'll both stand to gain significantly. You'll make far more pairing with me than signing with Karasu. What do you say? Interested in making $50 million? 50 million? You're here because you're getting paid healthily, right? Even so, I doubt Karasu's offering you that kind of money. $50 million for one day's work? It's true that Adder is a multinational, multi-billion-dollar company. They have wide influence, unrivaled global pressure, and a scary amount of power. Even so, to think that such an impossibly large sum of money could be all mine. Come on, hurry up and say yes already. We're both on the clock here. He's right. This is no time to be hesitating. I'm already running late. Sai and Misa will be along any second now. If I would hurry up and... Wait, Misa? As Misa's name came to mind, the allure of money suddenly seemed far weaker than it had moments ago. Rather than focusing on the absurd sum of money being offered me, I found myself thinking of the life Misa and I agreed on mere hours ago. The two of us, cohabitating, free of our responsibilities under Karasu's employ, able to spend our days however we wanted. That's right. Even if money was once my reason for being here, it isn't that simple anymore. I have money, and when this is over, I'll have plenty more. But if I were to accept Leon's offer, money is the only thing I would have. Leon, I have to hand it to you. That is an impressive sum of money. Even so, I know better than anyone that money isn't everything. I lunged forward, slashing at Leon with both my knives. He parried each blow with little difficulty, sustained only a couple of light scratches as he did. So that's your answer, huh? Fine. You were never going to get that money anyway. Leon swung back, attempting to regain the offensive. But I didn't let up. I continued pushing forward. striking with each of my weapons out of sync. You really are full of surprises. Even so, I won't forgive you for underestimating me. Leon increased the amount of strength he put into his strikes, swinging wildly. As he did so, however, his movements became easier to read, and I was able to avoid his attacks altogether. Stand still and die, damn it! I cut Leon's stomach once more, then quickly blocked his blade. Wielding two short blades at once, I had the advantage in speed, and from the very beginning I was stronger than Leon. Although he outmatched me in skill, his swordsmanship was nothing compared to Misa's, making the whole fight feel like a slow day of training. What's wrong, Leon? You're slowing down. I cut Leon again and again, abusing every opportunity he gave me. The more I cut him, the angrier he grew, and as Leon became enraged, he made stupid mistakes, allowing me to cut him again and feed the cycle. God damn you! Leon lunged forward again. In response, I swiftly cut him down. I need to end this already. We only have a couple of minutes before the security system comes back online. If I don't get out of here soon, Misa and Sai will... Wait a minute. Where is Misa? Quickly pushing Leon away from me, I ran in the opposite direction towards the lab I saw Misa enter. As much as I wanted to finish Leon off once and for all, I knew I had to grab her and exit before our time ran out. Shit. Just what's keeping you, Misa? I'm dealing with Leon, so what are you? The moment Leon's face entered my mind, I recalled the makeup of his team. With Violet dead and Leon behind me, there remained at least one more opponent. Oh no, I forgot about Kane. Misa! I quickly dashed into the lab, screaming Misa's name as I did, and the moment I entered, I confirmed her safety. Misa, you're safe after all. Listen, I don't know what's kept you for so long, but we've run out of time. We need to go right now. Leon is here and he's... Before I could finish speaking, Misa maneuvered herself around me, intercepting the silent predator that even my sickness failed to notice. In the blink of an eye, she removed her blade from her back, ran straight past me, and pinned Leon to the wall. Having his skull and brain pierced effortlessly, Leon could no longer speak. The best he could do was allow moans of death to leak from his mouth, gurgling blood for a moment as the last remnant of his consciousness faded. Within moments, the light had left Leon's eyes, and the man I sought to warn Misa about had been permanently erased. He remained standing thanks to the blade pinning him to the wall, but otherwise, all signs of life had left his body. Misa can be totally ruthless when she wants to be. I thought she was merciless when she practically beheaded Violet or when she cleaved Martin in two. But to react that quickly, and to kill a professional so easily, Misa really is a class above me. Misa, that was amazing. I came here to warn you about Leon, but it looks like I needn't have bothered. Now let's get out of here before your luck runs out? While Misa was still focused on Leon, Kane seized the opportunity to grab Misa by the throat. Unable to remove her blade from Leon's skull in time, Misa was left to fight against Kane in terms of strength alone, putting her at an insurmountable disadvantage. That was a close one. I'd hoped to find you while Leon was keeping your partner busy, but it looks like you're mine regardless, little girl. Kane tightened his hold on Misa's throat, making it difficult for her to breathe. And they misspelled breathe? Really now, to think that you not only killed Violet, but Leon too. I may not be the family man that Karasu claims to be, but I was rather fond of those two, you know? Misa continued to struggle, desperately trying to break free from Kane's grip. However, for all of her impressive traits and skills, Misa was still just a young girl, and she couldn't hope to win against Kane in a battle of strength. Misa, let her go, you bastard. I wouldn't come any closer if I were you. One little twist in this girl's head will come straight off. Kane increased the pressure he had on Misa's neck, and as he did so, the last of her resistance faded. Her arms fell limp by her sides, and Misa's eyes began to close. Not good. Misa's already losing consciousness, and he still hasn't let her go. I can't afford to take any chances. I relaxed my stance and dropped my knives onto the ground. Good, good. Now grab that bag Miso is loading and slide it over to me. Quickly now. The girl doesn't have much oxygen left. Without a word, I did as Kane said. I grabbed the bag Misa had been loading, filled in the same manner as mine had been, and slid it over to Kane. Wise decision. Misa. The moment Kane let Misa go, I ran to her side, immediately listening for signs of life. However, by the time I had gotten to her, Misa had already stopped breathing and her lips had turned blue. Damn it, Misa, this isn't funny. I've already been through this once, and I'm not about to let it happen again. Recalling the health class lessons in high school covering CPR, I placed one hand on Misa's chin and the other on the back of her head. I tilted her head back and covered her lips with my own, breathing oxygen into her lungs and watching as her chest began to rise. He's actually doing CPR wrong, interestingly enough. For those unaware but are curious, the current method of CPR that's taught is not the whole mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You want to check the airway to see if it's obstructed. If it's not, then you begin the chest compressions. Your goal is 100 compressions per minute. And that's pretty much the basics of CPR. Okay, I've got this. 5 initial rescue breaths, then 30 chest compressions, followed by 2 rescue breaths. I repeat those last 2 chest steps until she begins breathing on her own. I performed another 4 initial rescue breaths, then began on chest compressions. Chest compressions, that's, right, 100 per minute. 30 at a time, 100 per minute, with 2 rescue breaths in between, no problem. Estimating my timing the best I could, I performed the first 30 chest compressions, followed by another 2 rescue breaths. Come on, Misa, wake up already. You're not allowed to die. I kept compressing Misa's chest as I screamed at her, paying no attention to the tears in my eyes. You have to pull through, Misa. Who's going to keep me company if you die too? You promised me that you'd stay with me, remember? We're going to live happily together, free from the death and bloodshed. Please, Misa, just open your eyes. Misa? Through tear-filled eyes, I at last saw Misa wake up. Though groggy and disoriented from the lack of oxygen, not to mention her near loss of life, Misa slowly but surely opened her eyes. Her chest began to rise and fall, and color gradually returned to her face. Weak breaths escaped her lips, fulfilling the role I had noticed fulfilling the role I had until moments ago. It was a close call, for there could be no doubt. Misa pulled through. Jeez, don't scare me like that. As soon as Misa opened her eyes, all of the tension left my body. I completely forgot about the time limit which we had already passed, and the 2 interlopers who got us into such a position. All I could see was the precious face of the girl I'd managed to save. Misa, don't you dare scare me like that again. If even you were to die, then Following the path of Misa's shocked eyes, I set my sights on my own torso. Sticking out of my chest was the tip of a blade, which had quickly and effortlessly pierced my sternum. Is that... Gotta hand it to you, kid. I think you'd actually managed to save her life. It's a good thing I decided to stick around and finish the job, just in case you actually succeeded. From behind me, I could hear the voice of Kane, who continued to drive the blade further into my torso as he spoke. Removed from Leon's corpse, Misa's blade was inching its way through my body, spilling my blood onto Misa on the floor below us. Drops of blood dribbled from my mouth as I tried to catch my breath. Every movement of my chest brought with it pain, and I could clearly feel my own life slipping away. As my body slowly fell to the floor, so too did that of my killer. A single gunshot echoed out. As I looked behind me, I could see Sai standing over Kane's corpse. You're a bit late, Sai. Would it have killed you to get here 30 seconds sooner? Because, you know, I'm not really enjoying the alternative. Watching my own blood pour from my chest, I calmly analyzed my situation. I'd been stabbed in the back by Kane, possibly dealt a fatal blow, and been left to bleed to death in a location which I had no chance of receiving medical attention. I was under no illusion as to what would happen next. As I felt my consciousness begin to slip away, another figure entered my view. The girl I had saved moments before getting stabbed. The girl who walked beside me every day. The girl who kept me from falling into despair after the tragic death of my sister. Misa. Misa's mouth moved back and forth, silently screaming at me as I tried and failed to get up. Tears streamed down her face, further smudging the blood I had left there barely 1 minute prior. Misa, you really don't know when to give up, do you? I guess the same could be said about me, though in my case, my perseverance actually paid off. Unfortunately, I think that trick will only work once. Saving one life was the limit. That's all a person like me could hope for. Praying that I too would come back from the brink of death is simply unreasonable. Can't say that I'm surprised that things ended up this way. For the one Karasu told me that we'd be robbing at her, I knew that death awaited me. It was never a matter of if, only a question of when and under what circumstances. So as my final moments are concerned, I'm not disappointed. I was able to provide for Sara to give her a new home and a new life, even if it didn't last. I was able to trade fates with Misa, saving her life at the cost of my own, finally repaying her for everything she's done for me. And finally, with the life gradually leaving my body, I'll be reunited with Sara once more. When I think about it like that, what do I have to complain about? Suo. Visibly pained as she spoke, Misa strained herself until the very end, trying her hardest to finally say my name. Would you look at that? You can do it after all, Misa. You just needed the right motivation. Maybe my death will be worthwhile after all. So, what'd you guys think of Sickness? I'm kinda curious how big this team is, because they're still working on the game, if you didn't know. They've just started the Lucia route. So yes, in case you're wondering, the girl we killed, like, halfway through the story, she's actually a romanceable option. Kinda surprised that they're still putting work into the game, to be honest, but they're committed, what can I say? Now, one thing is, I don't know who the original route was for, if it was Misa or Sara. Whichever one it wasn't was recently, well, it's actually been a little time now. I think it was back in August that the second route was added, and then Lucia is going to be the third one. And to be honest, unless they're going to try to make Violet a romanceable option, which doesn't really make sense. I mean, we barely see her and interact with her, and we're kind of out of female characters. Yeah, you know, in retrospect, I never really noticed that. I don't know if that achievement popped there, but it was Die Happy. Never noticed that there were so few female characters in this relative to the male ones. But granted, the male ones do drop like flies. Anyone remember Marcus or Andre? Last night, moments before midnight, I awoke to a dream too far-fetched to ever reflect reality. I had been stabbed, straight through the chest, and left to die on the cold, hard floor of a laboratory. It was the end I had seen coming a mile away. The scene of my death, the moment in which karma had finally caught up with me. It was a wonderful death, the kind which actually meant something, a death I would have been proud to accept. And yet, despite being granted such a wonderful death, I was saved. My far-fetched dream depicted my own survival. Not a dream of a cold, bloody floor, not of my own death, but one of life. A fantastic dream in which I awoke not in hell, but in a hospital bed, surrounded by white walls and sick people. A dream far too good for the likes of me. Convinced that the sight before me was not reality, I waited for the dream to end. I sat in the hospital bed, pierced with tubes in areas I'd prefer not to mention, and whittled away the hours, hoping for an exciting turn of events, like any good dream should have. But no matter how long I waited, no matter how many hours passed by, I did not wake up. Death refused to take me. Rather than being embraced by the darkness of eternity, I was cradled by life, rescued by events and people unknown to me. I had been saved. In the corner of my room sat a television, depicting a familiar street reporter. Robbed of any other source of entertainment or information, I focused on the television, listening closely to the morning news. Filled with cheer just days ago, these low-class streets are now bare once more, filled only with the homeless and the trash visitors left behind. Though popular around Christmas, Middlebrook remains a notorious city known for its relaxed stance on slave labor, second only to Richmond in corruption. Unlike Richmond, however, Middlebrook has one saving grace, and that is Adder, of course, and news of Adder's latest feats is spreading like wildfire. Between their new product launch and the sizable Christmas sales, Adder stocks are up 15% from this time last year, set to break estimates. I must be alive after all. There's no way the afterlife could be this cruel. There's nothing to do, Adder is thriving, and I have more tubes than friends. This is my life, all right. Honestly, how did I pull that off? Can't I even die properly? Now I'm not sure whether to be thankful or embarrassed. I was so giddy about the thought of having such a cool and meaningful death that I was actually happy to be dead. But I guess for someone like me, even that is too much to ask for. Remorseless killers who get their own family members murdered don't deserve death. Staying in a hospital room with a colostomy bag and urethral tube is far more fitting punishment. Now I just need Karasu to call up and start one of his long-winded spiels, and I'll truly be in hell. Mr. Tesla. As my thoughts dragged me further away, a sudden call returned me to reality. Just call me Suo. Alright, Suo then. Suo, when did you wake up? I looked at the clock on the wall. It's almost 8 a.m. already? Jeez. Guess I woke up 8 or 9 hours ago. The nurse looked at me in a perplexed manner. My initial reply caught her off guard as to the fact that my eyes were open. Suo, do you know where you are? Some hospital, I guess. Probably in Richmond or Middlebrook. Once again taken aback by my blunt and disinterested reply, the nurse faltered for a moment before continuing. Suo, you suffered heavy blood loss after being stabbed in the chest. You really should lay down. I patted my chest where Kane had stabbed me. Even as I reached under my hospital gown, I could feel no wound nor even stitches. If the wound left a scar, I couldn't tell. I think I'm okay. I tried to stand up, hindered only by the tubes protruding from my body. You can't do that. Please, lay back down. The doctor will be in shortly, and he'll discern whether you can have those removed, okay? All right, I understand. Following the nurse's visit, several doctors came to see me. They were all amazed to see that I had woken up so soon, telling me how they didn't think I'd even survive the surgery, let alone ever wake up. Furthermore, the rate at which my wound had healed staggered everyone, myself included. After being stabbed through the chest, not even a scar remained. Once the head doctor agreed that my tubes could be removed, I was practically at full health. Suo, I understand that you're keen to get up and move around, but please take it easy. Staying up and stretching so soon is a bit... I'm fine. That doctor said I should be okay as long as I don't leave the hospital. I see. In that case, do you think you're ready to accept visitors? Visitors? Like I'll get any of those. If someone wants to see me, let them right in. Okay then, I'll go get her now. I think we've kept your girlfriend waiting long enough. My girlfriend? Ah. Sliding open the door, the nurse let in a solitary girl who had been waiting patiently outside of my room. Wrapped in the dress I bought her, Misa slowly walked into the room, already teary-eyed the moment she laid eyes on me. Misa? Just as she had been the moment of our separation, Misa was crying as she stared at my face. But unlike last time, This time Misa was crying out of joy. Resting beneath her tears was a smile. The angelic smile I had grown so fond of, yet taken for granted during our time together. The smile she showed me when we first ate together, when we went to the arcade, during our picnic, and even when we bought that very dress. A smile I wanted to see every day for the rest of my life. I made you cry again. Sorry to worry you, Misa. Misa shook her head, dismissing my apology. She simply continued to smile, paying no mind to the tears soaking her face. Misa, I really can't leave you alone, can I? And from now on, I won't have to. Misa, it may be a few more days before I'm allowed to leave this place, but once I do, let's go home. You play through sickness from the perspective of Misa. So that's kind of interesting. But anyway, that was Misa's route. So we can go back, do Sara's route, and depending on when Lucia's route is actually finished, we can then do the third route. There's technically a fourth route where you actually do die. I don't know if people are interested to see that or not. But I'm going to try to do my plan for the multiple ending games starting tomorrow. So in case you're wondering, if it goes according to plan, there may be a longer sickness video tomorrow where I try to do everything of Sara's in one video. So basically I'm going to be skipping all the text we've seen before, where I'm really going to hit start game, go from the beginning, hit the skip button, and whenever a Sara choice comes up, we'll play that out a bit, then skip, next choice, and so on. But otherwise, if you want to see the gallery, this might actually be a new Lucia scene, I'm not entirely sure. This is when you actually talk to her on her route, I want to say. I'm not sure what that one is. I don't know if these are Sara scenes. Lots of things we missed here. And here. Then I didn't really think there were many options for how some of these played out. So I want to say this whole no regrets thing is probably the last thing you see if you happen to not survive. So I don't know if these are reserved for the ending, but there's probably some CGs that are exclusive to Misa, and that might be some of these odd ones here and there, like this one. But yeah, now you know the state of things, and we're not done with it just yet. So hopefully you guys don't mind a little bit more sickness. I'm the Dark Hero. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.